Exposed: how a heartwarming moment from an undercover billionaire transformed a waitress's life. Mia wiped her brow, the grease from the griddles mingling with her sweat as the hustle of the diner surged around her. Morning light streamed through the dusty windows, illuminating the faded booths and worn linoleum floors. The smell of bacon and burnt toast filled the air, while the constant clatter of plates reverberated in her ears. To the patrons, it was comfort. To Mia, it felt more like a prison, each shift tethering her dreams to the table she served. Her heart sank as she watched the cash register ring up another morning special, knowing her paycheck wouldn't even cover the overdue bills piling up at home. As she poured coffee for a couple in the corner booth, her heart ached at the thought of her 2 young children waiting for her at home, needing her undivided attention. They relied on her, but dreams of college and a brighter future felt like distant stars unreachable. Her overbearing mother often reminded Mia of a path lined with stability, dismissing her longing for something more as childish whimsy. Through the noise, a new presence caught her eye. Steve, a seemingly ordinary man, nestled in a booth, observing her with an intent gaze. He blended into the background, just another customer. But he wasn't just watching the plates, he was witnessing resilience. Mia moved through the chaos, a smile ever present on her lips for each customer, though inside her heart was heavy. With every laugh and spark of connection, she yearned to be seen, to be understood. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let us continue. As weeks passed, Mia often caught Steve's eye. On a particularly grueling shift, when her muscles ached from standing and her spirits were low, he approached her. "Mia, I see you," he said, his voice catching the attention of those nearby. "You have dreams. What if I could help invest in that vision?" Her heart raced. Part of her wanted to reject his offer, too good to be true. But then she thought about her kids and the quiet hope that lived within her. Would it be selfish to pursue a dream? As whispers flared around them, dividing the diner into factions, supporters and skeptics, Mia felt the weight of judgment start to seep in. Doubts crept in: was she worth this help, this attention? With breath catching, she finally spoke. "I want to achieve something. But will I lose everything if I try?" This moment, hanging in the air, shifted something within her. When most would have backed down, Mia stood firm, an ember of determination igniting her spirit. In that crowded diner, filled with the scent of coffee and the sound of gossip, fear morphed into a quiet promise. She would fight for her dreams. But with the town buzzing and the scandal mounting, she knew the future was uncertain. Would her community, as tangled as its roots were, stand by her? The air felt thick with anticipation, and for the first time in a long time, Mia's heartbeat matched the rhythm of hope in her chest. Mia spent the next few days in a whirlwind of emotions. The moment Steve had approached her lingered heavily on her mind like the aroma of coffee that filled the diner. Every time she served a customer, their faces blurred together, but Steve's steady gaze remained crystal clear. Each glance he had given her felt like a silent encouragement, pushing her to confront what lay ahead. As she worked, doubt began to gnaw at her heart. What if this was just a fleeting kindness? What if the attention she received was merely pity masked by dreams? The voices of her mother echoed in her ears, firm and unyielding. "You need stability, Mia. You can't chase fairy tales." Finding an escape from the diner seemed both a necessity and an impossibility. One evening after closing, Mia sat at the booth Steve often occupied. It was quiet, the laughter and chatter replaced by the hum of the fridge and the soft clinking of the dishwasher. She picked up a pen and began to write. It felt freeing, letting the words flow onto the paper. Ideas ignited about a bakery, a loving space where pastries could transcend the monotony of life and sprinkle joy in each bite. The thought of tasting victory for herself and for her children sent a pulse of energy through her. Just then, the door swung open, and to her disbelief, Steve walked in. His presence brought a rush of adrenaline. "I'm glad I caught you," he said, taking a seat across from her. "I've been thinking about your dreams." "What if they're just dreams?" she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "They seem so far out of reach." He leaned forward, his eyes softening. "Every dream begins as a whisper, Mia. It's up to you to let it grow louder." Caught off guard by his sincerity, she felt the walls around her heart begin to crumble. "I'm scared," she admitted, the words tumbling out in a rush. "What if I fail? What if I lose everything?" "Then you learn. But think about what you could gain." He placed his hand over hers, grounding her with a shared moment of silence. "You have so much to offer. I believe in you." His faith wrapped around her like a warm blanket, and for the first time, she felt a flicker of possibility inside. They spent the next hour discussing mini business plans, and the more they talked, the more the vision of her passion project became real. Steve pulled out his phone, taking notes, jotting down ideas that sparked new energy in Mia that she hadn't felt in years. But as excitement brewed, so did anxiety. An idea was forming, but there were still hurdles she couldn't see. Would her children understand? Could she balance her role as their mother with the demands of pursuing her dreams? Just as they wrapped up, Steve looked straight into her eyes, his expression serious. "Mia, if you do this, you'll have to commit. It won't be easy. There will be sacrifices." As she absorbed his words, she realized this was a turning point. Could she have the courage to follow through? With hope intertwined with fear, Mia stood at a crossroads, poised to embrace her future. But there was one question haunting her: what if she leaped, only to find herself falling? The thought echoed in her mind as she left the diner that night, determination battling the whispers of doubt. What would she choose? And how much was she ready to risk to turn her dreams into reality? Mia walked home that night with a mixture of excitement and trepidation swirling in her mind. Each step felt like a countdown, bringing her closer to a decision that could change everything. The streets were quiet, the night air crisp against her skin, but inside her, emotions clashed like a storm. "Mommy." The familiar voice of her youngest broke through the haze as she opened the door. Grace was perched on the couch, her eyes bright like stars. "Did you see any new cakes today?" Mia smiled gently, the innocence of her daughter piercing through the tumult in her heart. "Not today, sweet pea, but I might try making something special tomorrow." "Like a cupcake?" Grace squealed, jumping off the couch. "Please, can we bake together?" "Of course." The warmth of her daughter's enthusiasm added a layer of joy to Mia's fear. They spent the next hour in the kitchen, flour dusting the counters, laughter echoing in the air as they decorated cupcakes with bright frosting and sprinkles. But beneath the festivity, Mia felt the weight of her thoughts. "Can I really do this?" she wondered. As she watched Grace meticulously place each sprinkle, Mia felt both hope and doubt tightening around her heart. When Grace finally fell asleep, Mia sat down at the kitchen table with a notebook in front of her. She flipped through pages filled with ideas, her dreams spilling out onto the paper. Would her bakery be just another escape, or could it really become a reality? The excitement that flickered when she imagined opening those doors was almost comforting. But the fears crept in again, uninvited. Would her shop provide enough? Could she handle the inevitable failures? She buried her face in her hands, feeling overwhelmed. Just then, her phone buzzed on the table. It was a text from Steve. "Thinking of you. Hope cupcake decorating was a success." Mia felt her heart jump. She quickly typed back, sharing how much joy Grace's laughter brought her. Within moments, her screen lit up with his reply, a quick exchange transforming into a warm conversation, where if only for a while, her worries felt lighter. "I see the passion in you, Mia," he texted. "Don't let fear steal your dreams. You'll never know unless you try." For the first time since they had spoken, Mia felt a surge of courage. The idea blossomed that night like the icing on the cupcakes, sweet and vibrant. Maybe she could make this work. Maybe she didn't have to choose between her children and her dreams. As the night wore on, she mapped out a plan. She would save money, apply for small business grants, and enlist her children to help with the bakery. Bringing them along would not only teach them but make it a project they could all be proud of. Later, as she nestled under the covers, an unexpected peace settled over her. She still felt scared but also a thrill that danced in her veins. This was her life, and she was ready to take control. The dawn of a new chapter breathed life into her chest. But just as she was drifting to sleep, another thought struck her. What if the risks for her bakery didn't just involve money? She would need not just financial support, but emotional strength, too. Could Steve's belief in her withstand the reality of the challenges ahead? That question lingered as she closed her eyes, setting the stage for an uncertain tomorrow, one where she could either rise or fall. And Mia knew, she had to be ready for both. The morning sun streamed through the kitchen window, dancing on the countertops and warming the spaces where Grace's little hands had created their masterpiece. Mia stood at the sink, watching the water cascade over the remnants of their cupcake decorating escapade. Flour lingered on her hands like soft flourishes of hope. Today felt different. Today felt like a leap. With her plan mapped out and the warmth of her daughter's laughter still echoing in her mind, Mia sat at the table, notebook opened wide. She jotted down ideas, everything from quirky cupcake flavors to names for her future bakery. Each word felt like a building block, each idea, a glimpse into the colorful life she envisioned. Her phone buzzed again. It was a message from Steve. "How's the bakery dream coming along? Got any plans for today?" Mia hesitated. How much should she share? This wasn't just about baking. It was about the life she was ready to shape for her children, a world she hadn't dared to dream of before. Working on ideas. "I want to get the kids involved," she finally replied. "Awesome. Let me know how I can help. Maybe I can come over later." Her heart fluttered. His willingness to engage meant more than he realized. What if his support was the missing ingredient in her recipe for success? "Sounds good. We can brainstorm over cupcakes," she typed back, her fingers dancing quickly across the screen. After doing the breakfast routine, complete with spilled juice and playful giggles, Mia set her focus on the day ahead. She wasn't just a mother, she was a future business owner. "Let us go to the farmer's market," she proposed to Grace, who nodded enthusiastically, eyes twinkling with anticipation. Walking through the market, the atmosphere buzzed with excitement and life. Vendors shouted out their freshest products, and Mia instantly saw possibilities. She filled her basket with the ripest strawberries, colorful sprinkles, and even some unique spices that might add a surprising twist to her cupcake creations. "Mommy, can we make strawberry cupcakes?" Grace pleaded, her little hands grasping the bright red fruit. "Absolutely." Mia felt a rush. This was more than shopping, it was a taste of her dream. On their way home, Mia's wheels turned. Ideas sprouted as she envisioned her bakery filled with laughter, kids slipping through the doors to the smell of baked goods. But as they reached the front porch, a fleeting thought swept through her: what if all this excitement crumbled as quickly as poorly risen batter? Just then, the door swung open, and there was Steve. "Hey! I couldn't wait," he smiled, holding a box of cupcakes in one hand. "Thought I'd bring some inspiration." At that moment, Mia felt the weight of her fears lighten. "Perfect timing," she said with a smile. Together, they gathered on the porch, Grace bouncing with energy as she showed Steve their farmer's market treasures. Steve grinned, genuinely engaged. "Let us make something special." How about a cupcake competition? Laughter erupted as they set to work, creativity flowing between them. The kitchen turned into a playful chaos of frosting and sprinkles as they raced to create the best cupcake. It felt like a family dream, each pop of laughter threading them together. But as she glanced at Steve, filling the room with stories about his own childhood baking memories, a question nagged at the back of her mind. Would his support hold when things got tough? Would he stand by her when the frosting melted, and the dream seemed too big to handle? Mia caught Steve's gaze, and in that moment, amidst the flour and laughter, she felt a flicker of hope sparkle in her chest. She wanted to believe in their bond as much as she believed in her dreams. But could any relationship withstand the pressure of ambition? The flour dust settled as Grace squealed in delight over their creations, and the small kitchen swelled with warmth. Mia took a deep breath, realizing that every leap started with challenges and she was ready to embrace them all. But as the sweetness of the moment enveloped them, the looming reality remained. The fire in her heart ignited with one stirring thought: what would happen when the joy of baking collided with the stark truth of running a business? Would laughter and dreams be enough to carry her through the haze of uncertainty? The answers were unwritten, waiting like the icing for a cupcake just at the edge of her reach. The smell of baked goods lingered in the air as they finished their cupcake creations. The kitchen was a colorful mess, remnants of flour dusting the countertops, sprinkles scattered like confetti. Grace sat on a stool, her eyes wide with delight as she stacked the cupcakes, creating a sugary tower that felt like a monumental achievement in her young eyes. Mia smiled at her daughter, feeling a swell of pride. This little girl, full of dreams and laughter, reminded Mia of why she was stepping into this unknown. She wanted to create a life filled with joy and sweetness for Grace. But as the evening progressed, she found herself battling a flicker of doubt. "Okay, Grace," Steve called out, his voice light. "Time for the taste test. What do you think, should we unveil the great cupcake creations?" With a big grin, Grace nodded vigorously. Mia laughed softly, enjoying the moment, but still aware of the potential pitfalls that loomed in their future. Was she really ready to take on the complexities of opening a bakery? Steve leaned over the table, admiring the cupcakes they had made. As he picked one up, a shadow of uncertainty crossed Mia's mind. What if he thought they were a failure? What if he compared them to his own mother's baking, which he often spoke of with such reverence? "Here goes nothing," he declared, taking a big bite. His expression shifted, and for a moment, Mia held her breath. But then, a smile broke across his face, warming her heart. This is amazing. It's like a smile in your mouth," he said. Grace giggled with pride, and Mia felt a wave of relief wash over her. "Let me try," she urged, reaching for the next cupcake. As she took a bite, the flavors exploded in her mouth. The sweetness of the strawberry combined with a hint of vanilla left her blissfully happy. "Wow! This is incredible, Steve." Together they celebrated, laughter filling the room once again. The kitchen, once a place of uncertainty, had transformed into a sanctuary. Yet, the doubts crept back in the lingering silence that followed their giggles. The contrast between the joy of the moment and her future uncertainties felt like a heavy weight on her chest. "Can I ask you something?" Steve's voice shattered her thoughts. She met his gaze, seeing kindness etched in his eyes. "Why is this bakery so important to you?" Mia paused. The question was simple, yet required vulnerability. "It's not just about cupcakes," she started slowly. "It's about creating a place where kids can dream, where families can come together and share moments like we are doing right now." A slight frown appeared on Steve's face, and for a moment, she feared she'd said the wrong thing. Instead, he nodded, as if weighing her words. "That's beautiful, Mia. And I see how much this means to you. But what if things don't go as planned?" His question lingered in the air like a dark cloud. The uncertainty flickered in her stomach again, turning her enthusiasm into hesitation. "I don't know," she whispered, the truth hitting her hard. "What if I fail?" Steve reached across the table, placing a supportive hand on hers. "You won tea if you keep believing in yourself. The real risk is not trying at all." In that moment, she felt his sincerity, his belief in her dreams cutting through her anxiety like the warm glow of the setting sun. But another part of her remained trapped in worry. The reality of failure was alive, and the thought of a dream crushed under the weight of expectations loomed large. Grace bounced on her stool. "Can we do this every week? Make cupcakes and compete?" "Absolutely." Mia answered, her fears pushed aside, if only for a moment, as she watched her daughter's excitement shine brightly. "Great!" Steve cheered. "Well, let us not waste our creations. How about we take some to the neighbors? Get some feedback." As Mia contemplated the idea, a flicker of excitement mixed with dread ignited within her. It felt like a challenge, a risky move, but perhaps a necessary one. The door to the unknown had just swung open wider, and she found herself teetering on the edge. Could this really be the moment that added fuel to her dream, or would it expose her uncertainties to the world? The possibility thrummed around her as she glanced between Steve and Grace, both faces glowing with hope. With a steadying breath, she realized she had to leap. But what awaited her on the other side of that leap was still a mystery, waiting to be uncovered. And with that, the kitchen once again filled with laughter as they planned their neighborly adventure, the future looming ahead like a cake yet to be frosted. What ingredients of hope and fear would they mix together next? The next afternoon, Mia stood in front of her window, sunlight streaming in, illuminating the last remnants of flour on the table. Grace bounced with energy, her eyes sparkling as she clutched a box filled with their colorful cupcakes, ready for the neighbors' critiques. The anticipation and sweetness of the moment felt intoxicating. "You're gonna love them. I hope they taste as good as they look," Grace chirped, her excitement bubbling over. Mia smiled, heart swelling with pride but tinged with anxiety. What if the neighbors didn't like them? What if they shared harsh feedback? Each possible critique floated through her mind like clouds rolling in before a storm. "All right, superstar," Steve said, kneeling beside Grace and adjusting her cap. "Think of it as a cupcake mission. A little adventure." Mia's heart pounded at the word mission. It made everything feel more important. This wasn't just baking, it was sharing a piece of herself with the community. A step in the right direction. "Let us do this." She wiped her palms on her apron, pushing away the nerves. As they arrived at the first neighbor's house, the small, charming cottage was adorned with daisies. Mia knocked gently, her heartbeat racing in her ears. The door swung open, revealing Mrs. Thompson, a sweet elderly woman whose warm smile lit up the afternoon. "Hello, dear. What do you have there?" "Cupcakes," Grace exclaimed, holding the box out eagerly. Mia watched as Mrs. Thompson's eyes widened, the scent of frosting wafting into the air between them. "Oh my! How lovely! You've baked these yourself?" Mrs. Thompson leaned closer, inspecting them with delight. Mia nodded, a smile creeping onto her face, but inside she felt a knot tighten. "Well, we all helped. It's a family effort." "Let me see." Mrs. Thompson picked one up, her fingers gently caressing the vibrant swirl of frosting. Time seemed to stretch as she took a bite. Mia watched intently, heat rising in her cheeks. Mmm. Delicious. Mrs. Thompson's eyes twinkled. "It's like a party in my mouth." Grace giggled, elated by the compliment. The anxiety bubbled away, and Mia unscrewed another cupcake, sighing in relief. Maybe this wasn't so terrifying after all. As they moved to the next house, a few children trailed behind, drawn in by the giggles and the promise of sweetness. They eagerly clamored for a cupcake of their own. "Can we have one?" A boy asked, his hands clasped together in hopeful anticipation. Of course. But you have to tell us how it tastes. Grace replied, her face glowing with excitement. Mia felt a spark ignite within her, a connection forming through simple cupcakes. Every smile on a child's face filled her with warmth. Perhaps opening a bakery wouldn't just be a dream, it could be a platform for community. A space where stories could be shared over frosting and sprinkles. As they continued to distribute their cupcakes, feedback poured in, each bite accompanied by cheers and laughter. Mia's heart surged as compliments came their way, pushing her worries deeper into the background. The wall of uncertainty began to crack, revealing a glimmer of hope. When they returned home, Mia felt lighter. Can you believe that? They loved them. She exclaimed to Grace and Steve, their faces flushed from the adventure. I knew they would. You should really consider doing this full-time, Mia, Steve said, leaning against the countertop, his confidence infectious. I don't know, she hesitated, the doubt running back into her mind. What if every day isn't like today? Then you create another day like this. One cupcake at a time, Grace chimed in, her voice unwavering. Mia smiled softly, meeting their gazes. There was a fire in their eyes that reignited the flicker of her own ambition. Maybe they were right. Maybe this was just the beginning. But as the evening drew near, Mia felt another shadow creep back. The reality of running a bakery, the pressure, the expectations, and the risk of failure lingered like an unanswered question. They might have enjoyed today, but what if customers tomorrow didn't feel the same? What if, in pursuit of something sweet, she stumbled upon something bitter? Just then, an unexpected knock at the door broke the silence of her swirling thoughts. It was louder than she expected, resonating like a serious proclamation. What now? She wondered aloud, her heart pounding with a mix of excitement and apprehension. And as she opened the door, bracing for whatever lay ahead, she had no idea how much this moment would change everything. As Mia opened the door, her breath hitched. Standing on the porch was a tall figure dressed in a crisp blazer, a stark contrast to the warmth of the afternoon light. The man held a golden envelope in his hands, and Mia's heart raced. Was this some sort of prank or one of those reality show setups? She quickly brushed aside the thought, trying to read his expression. Hi, I'm Ethan, he introduced himself with a friendly smile. I know this may seem unexpected, but I was in the neighborhood and noticed your delightful cupcake display earlier. I had to come see for myself. Mia blinked, confusion washing over her. You saw us? I'm Mia. And this is my daughter, Grace, and my husband, Steve. Nice to meet you all. Ethan replied, his voice easy and reassuring. I'm actually here on business. Well, more like a personal quest. As Mia observed him closely, there was something undeniably intriguing about him. He exuded a sense of purpose. What kind of business? Ethan hesitated for a moment, as if weighing his words carefully. I work in marketing, specifically with food brands. We're always looking for authentic stories behind products, especially those that bring communities together. She felt a flicker of hope. Are you saying you're interested in our cupcakes? Exactly. They radiate good vibes and love. And I believe a story worth sharing can impact many lives. Ethan's eyes sparkled with enthusiasm. I'd love to feature you in a campaign. A small video spotlighting your baking journey. Mia could hardly process his words. Me? But I'm just starting out and I have so much to learn. That's the beauty of it. He said, stepping slightly forward. People connect to authenticity. Your doubts, your triumphs, your story, it's real. That's what they want to see. Mia glanced at Grace and Steve, their expressions a mix of disbelief and pure excitement. You really think so? She asked, hope edging into her voice. I do. Most people aren't looking for perfection, they want a taste of something genuine. The warmth of his words spread through her. Could it be possible? Mia had dreamt of this moment, the kind of breakthrough that could build a bridge to her aspirations. But fear threatened to creep back in. What if I fail? What if they don't connect with my story? Ethan held her gaze, intensity radiating from him. Then you share your journey anyway. You learn, you grow, and you keep moving forward. You have to believe in yourself first. Let others see that journey. It's powerful. Mia's heart raced, her thoughts bubbling over. Suddenly, this moment felt less like an encounter with an outsider and more like a pivotal crossroads in her life. Could this really be the chance she had been yearning for? Just as she was about to respond, Grace tugged on her sleeve. "Mom, can we do this? It sounds amazing." The hopefulness in her daughter's eyes mirrored Mia's own burgeoning courage. She took a deep breath, weighing the extraordinary possibilities swirling around her. Amidst her fears, a small flicker of excitement ignited. Maybe, just maybe, this was the push she needed. "Okay, let us do it," Mia declared, feeling a wave of determination wash over her. "I'm in." Ethan's smile widened. "Perfect. Let us talk details inside." As they moved back into the quiet comfort of their home, Mia looked around, realizing this decision could alter everything. Yet at the heart of it was an exhilarating fear. Was she truly ready for this? Mia's heart raced with anticipation and uncertainty, a blend of hope and anxiety pulsing through her veins. What lay ahead could reshape not only her dreams but also her life in ways she never imagined. And as she pondered the direction her journey could take, a new question loomed in her mind: what challenges would she face on this newfound path? The air inside their cozy home was thick with anticipation. As Mia, Ethan, Grace, and Steve settled around the dining table, the familiar scent of vanilla cupcakes still lingered in the air, as if encouraging this momentous conversation. Mia's mind raced, chasing after thoughts of her dreams and the very real possibility of sharing her journey with the world. "So, how do you envision this?" Mia finally asked, breaking the silence that had settled over the group. Her voice felt small compared to the whirlwind of adventure brewing in her chest. Ethan leaned forward, animated. "We can start with your inspiration. What made you begin baking? Why cupcakes?" His eyes shone with genuine excitement that made Mia's own apprehension seem lighter. Grace bounced in her chair, her enthusiasm infectious. "Mom, tell him about Grandma's recipe. That's what started everything." Mia felt warmth rise in her cheeks as she smiled at her daughter. "Right. My mom always baked for us when I was little. She had this recipe for chocolate cupcakes that would make our house smell incredible." The memory flooded back, vivid and sweet. She could almost see her mother, flour dust dancing in the afternoon sun, humming softly as she worked. Ethan jotted down notes, completely absorbed in her story. "That's beautiful. You're connecting generations through cupcakes." Steve squeezed Mia's hand, his expression proud and encouraging. "You've always had that special touch. You made those cupcakes with care and love. People are going to feel that." Mia's heart swelled at their support. She had always loved baking, but sharing that love felt like taking a leap off a cliff, thrilling yet terrifying. What if they didn't like her cupcakes? Or worse, what if they didn't like her? "Are you sure people would care?" she asked, voice quavering. Ethan's gaze remained steady. "Absolutely. Everyone craves connection. Sharing your journey, your trials, and triumphs will resonate with them. You're telling a story, your story." Their discussion flowed seamlessly, ideas blooming like flowers in spring. They mapped out scenes Mia could film, baking sessions peppered with laughter and spills, moments of doubt overshadowed by small triumphs: the day Grace proudly decorated cupcakes for school, or when Mia received her first order from a local coffee shop. As the ideas flooded their small gathering, Mia felt a sense of community enveloping them. This was more than just a campaign, it was a chance to highlight their family's bond, to share love over flour and sugar, to inspire others who may feel stuck in their lives. We can show the world that baking isn't just about the perfect cupcake, Mia said, her voice gaining strength. It's about the mistakes, the messes, and the joy in every bite. Ethan grinned wider, clearly loving the direction they were heading. Exactly. Moments of vulnerability are the most relatable. You're already an inspiration, Mia. Mia leaned back in her chair, her heart racing as she considered that idea. Could it be possible that sharing her story might inspire someone else? A swell of determination filled her, buoyed by the supportive hands that rested on her, nudging her toward this new path. Yet beneath that excitement lingered a cloud of uncertainty. What if, despite all this, they faced hurdles that felt insurmountable? What if the world didn't respond like she hoped? But just then, Grace giggled, interrupting her worried thoughts. Mom, what if we run out of sprinkles? That would be a disaster. Everyone laughed, and the tension that had built within Mia dissipated. It felt good to be surrounded by laughter, by the possibility that there might be more than just baking ahead. There could be adventure, stories, and a community bound together by shared experiences. As their laughter echoed in the kitchen, Mia realized she was no longer just a waitress with a dream, she was a storyteller, a mother, and a pioneer of her own narrative. She just needed to take that first step. And as they exchanged ideas about when they might begin filming, a new question simmered in Mia's heart. What if the biggest challenge lay not in the baking but in openly sharing her vulnerabilities for the world to see? Mia woke the next morning with an overwhelming mix of excitement and nerves swirling in her gut. The sunlight streamed through the kitchen window, casting illuminating rays over her countertop, but all Mia could focus on was the challenge ahead. Sharing her baking journey, showing her vulnerabilities on camera. What if it all went horribly wrong? Just get yourself ready first, she told herself, taking a deep breath as she moved about the kitchen. Her fingers brushed over a bottle of vanilla extract, and she squeezed it like a reassuring hand, reminding herself of the pleasure that baking brought her. Steve found her standing frozen in the kitchen later that morning, staring at the neatly stacked cupcake liners with an uncertain expression. "You okay?" he asked, concerned as he noticed the tension in her shoulders. "I don't know if I can do this. I mean, what if nobody cares?" She felt the fluttering in her chest grow heavier, and with it, doubt began to seep in. He stepped closer. "Mia, if there's one thing I know, it's that your cupcakes bring people joy. You have something special to share. The world needs that openness, that connection." His eyes sparkled with sincerity. "And I'll be right here with you every step of the way." The simple comfort of Steve's presence eased some of her fears, but they were still there, lurking like shadows in her thoughts. "Do you think they really want to see my mistakes? My struggles? I'm just a waitress. Those mistakes are part of who you are. There's beauty in authenticity." He encouraged her with a soft smile. "What you're creating is real." Mia nodded, taking a deep breath but still feeling the weight of her insecurities. She busied herself with gathering ingredients, letting the flow of baking provide a moment of normalcy amidst the whirlwind of emotions. As she mixed the batter, Grace shuffled into the kitchen, still in her pajamas with unkempt hair sticking up. "What were you making, Mom?" "Cupcakes," Mia replied, her heart warming at the sight of her daughter. "Would you like to help?" Grace's eyes lit up, and she dashed to the counter. "Yes. Do we get to pick sprinkles?" "Of course. But you might want to be careful not to eat all of them before we finish," Mia teased, a smile breaking through her clouds of doubt. The two began working side by side, Grace meticulously adding sprinkles while Mia focused on folding in the batter. The mixture swirled with colors, the air filling with the scent of chocolate as they whipped together memories and laughter. The kitchen felt alive, vibrant with possibilities, a little chaotic but perfect in its own way. As they placed the cupcakes in the oven, Mia caught a glimpse of herself in the reflection of the microwave. The weariness was there, but so was something else, a flicker of courage igniting within her. After a few minutes, Mia stood by the oven, the anticipation palpable as the cupcakes baked. "Do you think they'll be good?" she asked Grace, biting her lip. Grace shrugged with confidence. "Of course. You can never go wrong with chocolate." Mia chuckled, but her mind continued racing. This small moment of baking with Grace wasn't just about cupcakes, it was a reminder of why sharing her journey mattered. Suddenly, the timer rang, and they both jumped. Mia opened the oven, revealing the golden brown cupcakes, their tops begging to be adorned with creamy frosting and sprinkles. In that moment, she knew that, with each cupcake, she could share joy, love, and her authentic self while conquering her fears, one sprinkle at a time. "This is just the beginning, isn't it?" Mia mused aloud, but her heart beat faster at the thought. What awaited her beyond these cupcakes? A whole world was out there, one fraught with unknown challenges and possibilities. And just as she turned to her daughter to share that realization, the doorbell rang. A sudden surge of alarm hit her. What if it was someone from the outside world wanting to judge her today? What if it was her opportunity calling? With a deep breath, Mia glanced at Grace, who looked up at her with wide eyes, curiosity sparkling in her smile. The sound of the doorbell echoed in her mind, slicing through the comforting atmosphere of the kitchen. Could it really be? She thought. "Stay here, okay?" she whispered to Grace, setting her eyes on the little girl, who nodded enthusiastically. Mia made her way to the door, her heart pounding like a drum. Each step felt like traveling through quicksand. The closer she got, the heavier her doubts felt. As she swung the door open, she found herself face to face with Ethan, his blazer now replaced by a casual shirt and jeans. His friendly grin instantly eased some of her tension. "Hey, Mia. I'm glad I caught you. Ready for today?" he asked, brimming with excitement. Today? Mia might be melted right there as the reality of her upcoming filming session rushed back to her. This was it. The leap into visibility. The moment where vulnerability would eclipse the shadows of her past. "Yep, let's capture some cupcake magic," Ethan continued, unfazed by her moment of hesitation. "I brought my camera gear, along with some props to make everything pop." As Mia watched him unload his bag filled with colorful backdrops and whimsical cupcake toppers, her apprehension flickered like a candle in the wind. She glanced back into the kitchen, where Grace was peeking around the corner, her little face lighting up at the sight of Ethan. "Are you ready?" he asked again, a gentle tone coaxing her. Mia took a deep breath, letting the excitement bubble beneath the surface. "I think yes, I'm ready." Ethan's eyes gleamed with enthusiasm. "Awesome. Let's get started, then." Together they set up in the kitchen, turning her family space into a makeshift studio. With each thoughtful detail, her doubt began to transform into a spark of creativity. Moments passed, and soon Grace was jumping and giggling as they played with sprinkles and frosting, the atmosphere filled with joy and laughter. It felt like a celebration of everything Mia dreamed it could be. "Alright, let's film the first scene," Ethan called, positioning the camera. His focused energy was contagious, washing over Mia like warm sunlight. Mia stepped in front of the camera, her heart racing yet alive with passion. "Hi. I'm Mia, and today we're not just baking cupcakes, we're sharing stories." Her voice trembled slightly, but she continued, breaking through the barrier of her fears. "Baking has always been a connection point for me, a place where love and laughter blend together." Grace chimed in, "And sprinkles. Don't forget the sprinkles." Her infectious enthusiasm filled the room. Laughter erupted, merging with renewed determination. Mia started decorating cupcakes, showcasing frosting techniques while sharing snippets of her journey, her dreams and the hurdles she faced, the yummy mishaps and her daughter's laughter weaving in and out like a thread through fabric. As the camera rolled, it was as if the unsteady ground she once stood on transformed into solid footing. Mia's vulnerabilities felt powerful as she showed the audience a glimpse of not just her cupcakes, but her heart. The kitchen enveloped them in its warmth, the essence of family echoing through every moment caught on film. After wrapping up the first segment, Grace cheered, "That was fun." With a proud grin on her face, she ran over and hugged Mia, a wide smile lighting up her features. Ethan nodded, visibly impressed. "Mia, that was fantastic. You have a natural presence on camera." She breathed out a sweet sigh, relief flooding through her as the weight of self-doubt began to lift. "Thanks. I didn't think I could do it." "Of course you can. Your story is genuine and it shines through," Ethan replied, his encouragement tangible. The afternoon wore on, and they took turns capturing moments of joy, laughter, and flower explosions. Mia's spirit soared, the camera clicking in rhythm with her heartbeat like a heartbeat of hope, making creating this content feel exhilarating. But as the camera finally stopped rolling, reality sunk back in like a cloud over a sunny day. What if this all fades away? Mia wondered, the sudden swell of anxiety rising again. But this time, she put her doubts to a side. She looked at Grace's beaming smile, recalled the way the neighbors reacted to their cupcakes, and thought of Steve's unwavering support. "I can do this," Mia thought defiantly. "I am more than a waitress. I am a mother, a dreamer, and now, a storyteller." As the last rays of sunlight filtered through the kitchen window, Mia realized that the leap she thought was terrifying was, in fact, a flight towards her dreams. And with each cupcake made, each story shared, she was building a path not just for herself, but for those who would want to reach beyond their own fears. "Ready for round 2 tomorrow?" Ethan asked, breaking into her thoughts with a warm smile. "Absolutely," she said, her heart brimming with purpose and excitement. "This is just the beginning." As she watched Grace skip around the kitchen, giggling joyfully, Mia felt the solid ground beneath her feet. She was ready to embrace whatever came next because now, the future looked sweeter than ever. And with that, she closed the door on her doubts, standing tall as a beacon of hope for all those who ever felt like they were stuck, waiting for their moment to take flight. Now more than ever, she believed in the magic of second chances and the power of dreams. So, my friends, let us rise together. If you felt even an ounce of inspiration from Mia's journey, you need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Hit that like button now to fuel our growth and keep these stories coming. Leave a comment below sharing your feelings about Mia's transformation. What do you think? Ready to chase your own dreams? And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this change. Let us spread this positive energy far and wide. You know it's the real deal.